Alright guys, I just want to let you know that this is probably going to be one of the worst videos for retention. If you watch this video all the way to the end, I know that you don't have the attention span of a goldfish because I'm not going to do any sort of fancy retention hacks to keep you guys hooked in, because all I literally just want to talk about is how I made almost close to like 300k in like the last 2 years-ish of entrepreneurship. Only 20 years old, didn't come from like having a bunch of experience, didn't really know what I was doing initially, but still made it, and still live a pretty decent life, making consistently like 25 to 30k a month, which to some people might be like, oh, it's nothing crazy, but to me, coming from where I came from, it is. So I just want to kind of talk about the main things that I've learned, the mistakes that I've done as well too, and obviously like the main thing that you guys can take away, which is actionable stuff that you can use to actually just make sure that you don't fall down the same pitfalls that I've seen a lot of people go down. So the main thing I want to talk about is going back to initially how I first figured out this model even existed in the first place, was just stumbling across like content. And this is going to be super important because the funnels that people use to get me to buy something initially is the stuff that I ended up building for other people and basically helping them help them sign more clients, get more money, and obviously change other people's lives as well too. So it all comes back, and it's kind of like a funny little circle. So I was watching Iwan Gatti, and I was trying to figure out, okay, cool, like how is he living his life? How does he got all these nice things? Because before this, I just wanted to be a programmer. I just wanted to code, because that's what I was doing before. That was making me some decent money on the side, just building websites for people. And I realized that this actual agency thing is a big thing. I was like, oh shit, why don't I just make a website agency, just like selling websites and just charge higher? Because I was doing stuff per hour. It was really fun. Felt like an employee all the time, and it was just like that. I didn't really like it. But then eventually I realized, okay, cool, I need to actually take the next step. So I split paid the payment for Agency Navigator because I was too broke. And then I realized that a lot of the stuff that they actually teach in these programs is all principle based. And what do I mean by principle based? Everything that you're doing in business, in life, and in everything in general, working with people, making money, it all comes down to fundamentals that have just been around for a long time. Like, for example, if you're trying to make 50k a month, the path to get to that point has already been laid out there because multiple people have already done it. All you just have to do is just follow the same principles that they did. And for example, the path of dealing with good people, hiring good people, all those types of things are already laid out. Like, for example, let me give you a big thing here. So when you're doing, let's say, for example, outreach, a lot of the time, people like to complicate getting people to respond, all that type of stuff. They like to try to make crazy messages or anything that is just completely different. What if you understood the principle that people like to respond when there's context and familiarity? If you don't know what that means, let's say, for example, I walk up to you in the street and I'm like, hey, I remember you from college. You're going to stop and you're going to lower your gal down because you're going to be like, okay, cool. The context of college and the familiarity of contexts of college is allowing you to feel like, okay, cool, I think I know this person, or maybe this person is like, maybe I know them or something like that. It's a lot easier to kind of have that conversation. But if I just come up to the street and I'm like, hey, how's it going? You're just going to ignore. Like, most people would just kind of like ignore it most of the time. So if you understand that fundamental, you can bring that into your business stuff and you're going to get results, because it's based on how humans behave. And the best part about all of this like business stuff, all this online thing, is that you're selling to human beings, which is a good thing because human beings have been around for a very long time. So a lot of the principles that get humans to like buy, take action, listen to people, do things that they might not want to do, but they feel like doing it because it's right. It's all been written down because we've just been around for a long time. There's so much studies, there's so much data, there's so much information on how we make decisions and how we do certain things. So if you're not following those things, or if you don't understand it, you're just going to overcomplicate everything. And that's like the main thing that I really didn't realize at the start, was understanding that everything just boils down to fundamentals that have just been around for a very long time. Like, the copywriting fundamentals are still the same. Like, your video editing fundamentals are still the same. Your retention fundamentals are still the same. We are not changing drastically every single year, like as humans, but the strategies change. All the stuff change, but even when the strategies and all the marketing techniques they change, they still revolve around the same principles. That's the main thing I realized, and once I figured that out, it made going about my stuff a lot easier because I stopped looking at different techniques to scale the agency. I stopped looking at different outreach methods. I stopped looking at different funnels, different offers, because I understood how all these things fundamentally worked. And that's all you need to do. And that understanding at a fundamental level is really not that difficult because it's only like maybe an hour or 2 a week of like research, understanding certain things. And then boom, you know why people reply to messages. Boom, you know why people buy offers. Boom, you know why people read copy and they feel persuaded to buy, because you understand these principles. That's why you're going to see a lot of these big guys in the space. They come from, you know, reading books about like copywriting, reading books about like marketing, advertising, and why people do certain things. And when they translate it to the offer and, you know, the businesses and the agencies that are running, they are successful. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, what strategy are they using? What's the next outreach message they're using? When in reality, they're just operating off fundamentals, okay? And that's like the biggest thing. And it's not even like as crazy as what I'm about to get into a little bit later, but just stick through this because that's like the main part that I realized. And once I realized that, I was like, oh shit, my whole world just kind of opened up. I was like, wow, I've been looking at it from the wrong lens. Why am I looking at it of like, what's the best outreach method? What's the best scaling strategy? Instead of looking at it from the perspective of like, what's the fundamental that makes these people take action? What's the fundamental that makes these people book in a call with me? And as I started to understand that better, everything just became a lot easier. So that's what I urge you guys to understand, because I really didn't do it. And I made a lot of mistakes by not doing that as the start, and obviously made less money by not understanding it as well too. And it kind of brings me on to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is part of the reason why I see a lot of agency owners, they kind of flop and they fail. And when I say flop, I mean as in like, you know, when I started Agency Navigator, there was so many people, you know, we had like groups of people. Agency Navigator, you don't know, it was like Iman's like old program before like the nice stuff. There was like so many like new people coming in, and you know, we're having groups and we're like, yeah, we're gonna scale this stuff. What's your goals? Oh, this is what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And it's kind of sad, but I'd say 90% of the people that I kind of started with, none of them have successful agencies anymore. And it sucked because these are people that I actually spend a lot of time with. You know, we went back and forth with strategy. We saw our wins, we saw our losses, but a lot of them just kind of flopped. And I was trying to figure out, okay, cool, what's the common thing that I see around these people that, you know, come in, they buy something, they get super hyped later, and then they don't actually do anything? What's the common theme that these guys have, these people have? And what I realized is the common theme is not necessarily that they don't do the work. It's not necessarily that, you know, they don't want to invest in themselves. Most of the time, it's because they get complacent with certain things and they didn't have a big enough why in the first place that got them got them to scale to the next level. What does that mean? They come in, they're super hyped because they want to change their life, and then they do the stuff that they need to do. Maybe they sign a client or two, maybe they actually scale, maybe they go from there. But what happens is they don't understand how stuff fundamentally works, and they've been operating based on strategy, which I talked about a little bit earlier. And then they start making dumb mistakes. They start, doing stuff they don't need to do, taking advice they don't need to take because they don't know what's what. Because especially when you start out, you don't really know what's like right or wrong. Because a lot of the time, you're just listening to other people that know more than you. So someone that's making 20K a month might be able to give someone that's making 5K a month really horrible advice. But the person making 20K a month is not going to know better because they haven't scaled past it. But the person making 5K a month isn't going to know it better as well because they're just making 5K. They're going to be like, okay, cool, whatever this guy says, I'm going to listen to it. So listen to people without understanding how fundamental stuff actually works. And then they basically take action. And when they don't see the results of it, they get complacent. They're like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, I'm doing well. I've got these clients. And then eventually when the complacency kicks in, maybe they lose their clients, maybe they didn't have outreach going, and they lose everything. And they just don't go back to it. That's the biggest thing that I see, because a lot of these people that I worked with and a lot of these people that, I started out with at the start, they technically got wins. They technically all signed clients. They technically all making money. They had a path there. They just didn't stick with it because complacency came in, and it sucks, but that's usually how it is for a lot of these people. And the one thing I want to kind of urge you guys is don't try to business hop or change different things when you see stuff is working. Because I know so many people that, for example, work with me and they have something that's already working before and they stop doing it because they want to learn my strategy. And I'm like, wait, the thing that you're doing is already working. Why did you stop it? Like, oh, I wanted to do something better. And people love new stuff, and it's fine. That's normally how we are. We don't change, like I said, and that's why marketers take advantage of that. They make fancy names, they make new offers, they make new strategies, they make new funnels, they make it sound super shiny, and they make you feel like your existing funnel that's already working, mind you, is not working. And then you think, oh, I'm gonna work better when I get this thing. You then you buy this thing, you stop the thing that's actually working, and then boom, complacency creeps in, and then you don't make any money. And then you're left with being like, oh, I don't know now. And what's funny is they don't even go back to the thing that actually was making them result in the first place, because they still have the belief that that stuff is not going to work for them. And that's like the main thing I've realized, and it just sucks when it happens. But hopefully me talking about this is going to like allow you to just know that you should be aware of these things consciously, that a lot of the time, that every time you are in, you know, a business opportunity, entrepreneurial stuff, a lot of the time things are against you. Like, for example, marketers are always trying to sell you something new. People are always trying to like incorporate new beliefs into you. People are always trying to break down beliefs that actually might be true, but they don't want you to think it's true because they want you to buy your program. And that stuff is going to suck. But if you understand fundamentals, those things are really not going to affect you. That's the main thing. Because like I said, the fundamentals of how people operate and the fundamentals of how people, you know, buy stuff, sell stuff, you know, book calls, listen to offers, take action, that stuff is the same. You can learn that from reading books, honestly. You can learn that from literally listening to podcasts. And you can learn that from literally just how people behave, your past experiences, the way your friends behave when you say something else. You can learn that from yourself. Like the way you behave when you see certain things, the way you behave when you see certain words. And then you just reverse engineer that and be like, okay, cool. Based on how humans work fundamentally, does this outreach strategy make logical sense? Based on how people buy offers, does this offer make fundamental sense? Based on how humans, you know, booking calls, take action and whatever, does this, you know, booking call strategy, does this ad strategy make sense? And then if you start looking at it from that angle, it's very hard for you to be brainwashed by stuff that just doesn't work and new things that, you know, don't actually help you. And you're going to be on the path to actually get to where you want to be because you're listening to yourself and you're listening to principles. That's the main thing, guys. And once I realized this, everything in my life just came a lot easier. Like I was able to like, you know, work with less people, make more money. I was able to like, you know, not have to be doing a bunch of outreach and still being consistent with the money I'm making, and also be in networks with people and, you know, understand people on like a fundamental level to the point that, you know, people just tell me like, yo, your stuff is amazing. Like, for example, one of my boys came down to London and he was like, yo, I want to do like a story sequence. And I know how fundamentally story sequences work. And these are like IG story sequences. They make a lot of money. He made like, I'll tell you like how much after, but like, he was like, yo, how does this work? And then I basically broke it down. It took me like 20 minutes because I understood how people work, how people have attention, what makes people take action. And we whipped up a story sequence, and in the first like 12 hours, you got like 20 people just DMing him, and you only had like 2K followers. And then this morning I asked him, woke up, I was like, yo, how many did you get? He said, yeah, so far we booked like 5 calls. And I was like, it's amazing. But if I didn't understand how people work or how things work on a fundamental level, I'm not going to be able to achieve these results. And that's the other thing that I wanted to dive into that I didn't really talk about initially, which is understanding that when you get to a certain point where your brain power and your skill set can actually produce your results, you're never going to get to a point where you're always going to be at zero, because you would have to be actively trying to get yourself back to zero once you've learned specific skills. Like, for example, if you learn the skills of sales, if you learn the skills of marketing, copywriting, I won't say marketing because I hate that word, but if you heard the skill of like, you know, copywriting, for example, or like, you know, content creation, if you understand these things, you've got skill sets that can make people money. And if you can make people money, you can also make yourself money as well too. So what I realized as well is I stopped being so hard on myself of like when things are not working, or if like, for example, if revenue is not like as big as it was last month, I stopped being hard on myself because I realized, hey, I've got the skills that can easily make me 250K a year profit for myself, just in my head. All I just need to do is apply for the right people, be in the right spaces, and I can get there. And being in those spaces is just you making people aware of your existence. And the way you do that is by doing outreach, by making content, by running ads, make people aware that you exist, get those opportunities, and then boom, you're set for life. That's all it is. So if you stop thinking in a frugal mindset, like, damn, every next client I need to do this, everything I need to sign this, I need to get this amount of money. It's like, no, what skills can you learn? What people can you meet? Because those are the things that are going to keep you there for long terms. And that's what people didn't really focus on, especially the people that I was in. They didn't focus really much on learning the skills. They were always just like, oh, I need to like outsource this straight away. I need to like, you know, pay someone this. You contract the arbitrage. I need to do that super early. And then, you know, when everything just goes to shit and stuff just stops working, they're now left by themselves because they don't have any skill sets that they actually built up. So they can't really rebuild because they have nothing. They have no skill sets. They learn nothing. And the things that, and even when they send the clients, they didn't do the service delivery for the clients, so they didn't even know what they even did. What they know is probably just outreach and stuff like that, which is not really going to get you far if you can't get people results. So that's the main thing, guys. In summary, what I want you guys to really understand is, number one, the reason why a lot of people kind of like flop is not necessarily because they don't do the work or they don't listen to the people. Is complacency creeps in. They don't understand how stuff works on a fundamental level. So when stuff doesn't work, they don't know what to do, and then it all comes crashing down and it left with zero. So the main thing I want you guys to take away from this is you need to understand how people, humans, you know, psychology, just all that boring stuff that we taught in school that we didn't really want to listen to, of just how people work. And you get this from experience, you get this from reading, you get this from like doing a bunch of stuff as well too. And then understanding that once you have that, you will not need to listen to all these like new strategies, new offers, new marketing, because you understand how this stuff works fundamentally, which is not too difficult. And now you can actually get into a place where you have like you leverage clients, you know, you're working with a bunch of people, and you know, you have a bunch of value to provide. So that's pretty much it from me. If you guys want to learn what the offer I'm running that, you know, is making me like 31K a month, I'm in cash, you can, you know, just tap in, you can message me on Instagram. I break down pretty much like what I do, the offer that I run, you know, the systems that I have, the outreach strategies that I use, all that type of stuff. You can just DM me. I can send you like a video that just breaks that stuff down. And if you want to know how I'm getting people results like crazy, you know, making people 150K, you know, getting percentages of that, all that type of stuff, hit me up. I'll show you how I do it with a very small amount of clients and how I fund the lifestyle and how it makes you allow to chill in like super nice places like this, like pretty cool little apartment that I'm with my friend. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay blessed, and yeah, that's pretty much it.